So glad to be here with you, coming live from the chilly Pocono Mountains here, enjoying the first bits of fall. We're technically still in the summer, but we're heading towards the fall here in the Poconos.
No, today was the first day of
Today?
fall.
Today was it? Okay, today was the first day of fall. We are there. We are
Yes, last night was the 21st night of September. Today is the first day of fall.
So it is definitely sweater weather. Okay. We want to thank our sponsor, brokersrealty.com. Without them, we could not be here with you every week having our fun-filled, chatty time. Right, ladies? If you want to buy, sell, rent, or auction off a property, make sure to check out brokersrealty.com right here in Stroudsburg. And one of their great and friendly agents is Sarah Smith Katz, who's right over here next to me. Hi, Sarah. How you doing?
Hi, everyone. I'm doing well. Holly, how about yourself?
You know what? I'm doing pretty good today. Pretty good today. We have a lot going on. I have a senior in high school, so we're like deeply entrenched in all these senior things that you have to do.
And it's so much fun when you have a senior, because
I think it would be more fun if there was less COVID, but we are having fun.
I can understand that. Hi, Aaliyah. How are you tonight?
Hello. I'm good. I told you I was hyper. I'm ready to go. I'm good.
There's a lot of coffee in her something to say mug.
I don't have coffee, actually. I have water. I have water. And again, I have my sippy cup lid on here. And so I don't spill it, because I tend to do that and I don't want to ruin my electronic situation. We are so excited about tonight's show, not only because we have our resident real estate expert about how to sell your house, because I'm certainly not. So I'm just going to be asking the questions and gaining some knowledge. But another reason to be excited is that we have Kathy Borey here with us tonight in the house. She is a mom. She is a rock star crunchy cleaner. She's Crunchy Cleaning by Kathy, which, by the way, are those Pocono Record Awards done, or is that still going on? Can people still vote?
No, few more days left.
All right. So if you're a local, or if you want to get on the Pocono, vote for this lady. She's below me on my screen. Vote for Kathy. Kathy Borey. You can also find her at Crunchy Cleaning by Kathy on Facebook. Hit her up.
Other business.
Awesome.
All the other local businesses too. Restaurants.
Exactly. And she also sells really cool essential oils and all that. So if you are interested in any of those things, definitely contact her. We're so happy to have you here tonight. I hope you're having a great week so far. Yay. So anybody that's watching tonight, we want to hear from you. We have something to say all the time, because we're talking. Yes. But we want to hear from you guys as always. So message us, let us know. Have you ever sold a home? Like, that's the topic of the night. Have you ever sold a home? What kind of process did you go through? Was it a good experience, a bad experience? Do you have any tips that would, help the process? And also, you could win a mug. So you definitely want to comment down below. This is one of our more exciting shows, I think, because we do tend to talk about things that are important, kind of hot topics in people's lives, right? So it's not just like we are inundated with the news all the time and all the things that are going on, famine, war, disease, all that kind of stuff, politics and all that. So we actually, at this show, which I really like, is everyday things that are important to families, moms, people that are, working moms in business, and we want to know. So Sarah, I want you to tell me, because I don't know. I've never sold a home, never sold one, bought. We have two. We are landlords. That's a whole other.
Oh, that's a whole
other show.
Other show. Thank the Lord, we have wonderful tenants at this moment, and that's fine. But we've never sold a home. We may not. So I want to know, what is this catchphrase that we always hear? It's a seller's market. Okay. What exactly? I want you to explain to me like I'm 6, because that's about the mentality that I have. I want you to tell me and our viewers, tell me, what is a seller's market? And then 2, why is it a seller's market in our area, and why people should take advantage of that?
Okay. So a seller's market is when you have more sellers than you have, or less sellers and more buyers.
Okay.
What is going on right now is that we have a historically low amount of inventory to sell in this area. Standard amount, right around 2,500 homes are for sale at any given time. Mm-hmm. Right after 9/11, I think we had 1,300.
Mhm.
Right now on our market, we have 933. So we have very little inventory and we have more buyers than we have sellers. That's why it
Right.
makes a seller's market, because if a seller puts their home on the market right now, what is happening is that people are actually overbidding so that they have the opportunity to purchase the home. And there's some pluses and minuses to that, because the plus is the home seller makes way more money, but the downside is you can't always get it appraised for what it actually has sold for. So there's a lot of complication for that, and you really do need a realtor that is experienced, because
Right. And
a
we're going
market.
to get into that process about why it is that you need to hire a professional. I mean, people do it, sell by. Kathy, have you ever sold a home? Is this something that you're?
I did. I owned a home. I owned a condo in Hillside, New Jersey, and I sold it in 2010 when I moved up
Oh,
here.
okay. And would you say was it a seller's market at that time?
No, the bubble had just burst.
Yes,
Right?
financial crisis. Yeah.
Bubble.
Yeah, and we had just gotten married, and I said, well, we can't be living in two states.
Right.
So I went up to Pennsylvania, and I really didn't have. I was thinking about possibly renting it out 6 months or yearly, but crunching the numbers, I would break even, and I didn't want to deal with the hassle of having to look for renters.
Kind of cut
and
your losses and kind of. So that's one reason that
Yeah.
you might sell a home would be your kind of merging of assets. Somebody has to move maybe to another state. What are some other reasons, Sarah, like besides merging of two homes or getting married, or maybe there's a death, God forbid there's a death, or
Well,
something. And maybe what are some of the other reasons that you're finding that people are either downsizing? Is it job loss? Is it downsizing? Is it people are aging out of homes? What are the top sort of things that you're seeing?
what I'm finding is that right now in this area, we have a lot of people coming in from the city. And the reason they're coming here is because they're either working in a job where, the company has decided that they don't really need their people to come into the office every
Right.
day, work from home. And people don't want to be stuck in a small apartment in New York, especially with all the shutdowns that are around there. It's one thing when you're living in the city and there's a lot of excitement going on and you can go to all different kind of places. It's different when you don't, the stores aren't open.
Right. The perks, like the theater, and the reasons why we pay high rent. I lived outside of Manhattan. I lived in basically a bedroom community called Nutley, New Jersey. Lovely, awesome, unforgettable. Will never forget that time of my life. And I commuted into Manhattan. And the reasons that you do all of these things, I mean, obviously the salary is higher, but it's also the nightlife. It's the free entertainment of the city.
Right.
And you're not getting that in terms of the street musicians and just the people watching. And then the theater's not open, the hustle and bustle, it has lost its
A lot of
glossiness. It's dangerous in a lot of ways in a lot of neighborhoods. So
that's what I've heard a lot. There are a lot more homeless folks in New York City than what was going on before. And a lot of people, if they are commuting into the city, it is a commute from Stroudsburg because we have the bus system.
Yes.
So it's the 1 hour, into Port Authority. So a lot of people are using that as an option. And you can get a lot more for your money here than you can if you purchase in New York or New Jersey, because our housing prices still have not escalated to the point of New York and New Jersey. So, people are coming here and they're finding a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, 1,800 square feet, and their mortgage may be what they were paying in rent.
Right.
So,
plus they're getting a yard. They're getting a yard. Maybe their kid has more access to schools or to so that's one of the reasons. And Sarah, what would be and maybe Kathy can speak to this because she went through the process. What is it better to do a sell by owner? I see a lot of for sale by owner, or is it better to do an agent? Kathy, did you do an agent? Did you sell it yourself?
No, I did an agent. I
You did an
didn't want to
agent.
do sell by owner. Some things in life I just don't want to deal with the extra burden of having to research and look into all this. And it's just not my area of expertise. I would rather pay somebody who knows how to do it to take care of all that work for me. Put it in their hands and let it go. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, and I think that there's advantage of is definitely advantage. Sarah, start us out, and we're going to talk about the advantages of a person like yourself. Who, I mean, you're not out of the gate. You're like, this is
20.
She's expert level. This is expert level real estate gold here, people. So, this is not a new person. Nothing a new person can't do great things. Of course, real estate, I think it just depends on a lot of factors, but you have the knowledge and the resume behind you. Tell us start us from the beginning. If I want to sell my house for whatever reason, I'm downsizing, getting married, moving to Guatemala, whatever, you know what I mean? Maybe not Guatemala, maybe let's pick Bali. I mean, not that Guatemala isn't lovely. I'm sure it's great this time of year, but let's try Bora Bora. Okay. I want to move. I'm going to pack up all my belongings. I don't want to deal with a house anymore, paying taxes and all that nonsense. Tell me if I'm going to contact you. I'm not going to sell myself because I don't want like Kathy. I just can't. That's not my area. Tell me what the phone call would be like. What's the process? Walk me and our viewers through it. How hiring you, or what would be the process and your recommendations? You don't have to give us everything because it's only an hour, but your top, go from the top.
First of all, most people don't realize that they can actually interview their agents. You don't have to go with the first agent that you have a conversation with, because not every personality clicks. And, you may want things done in a certain way, or they may want to do things in a certain way that just don't set right with you. So, you have to kind of like your agent, because you're going to spend a lot of time with them. But you also need to be able to listen to what they have to say. If you have an experienced agent, they're going to be able to come to your home and tell you what you need to do in order to get your home prepared for sale. And sometimes it's hard, because the first thing you have to do is get rid of any clutter that you have around the house. People don't want to see clutter, because there are a lot of people that absolutely cannot see past that. I have people into homes, they're cluttered, or they don't smell good, or things like that. And, as agents, we show anything that's on the multi-list system. So, I'm an agent in the state of Pennsylvania, so I can show a home anywhere in the state of Pennsylvania. That does not mean that I necessarily have been in that home. I may have the same pictures and information that you see on the internet. So, you can't get mad at your agent if you go in a house and it's all cluttery. But the listing agent, when you're listing your home, the first thing you need to do is get an agent that you have a conversation with. You can also negotiate your commission rate with your agent. It is not set in stone. It is against the law to set your commission in stone, or all the area to set their commission.
I did not know that. Tell me, so is hiring, if I was going to hire you or sign with you, let's say, to list my home and you were my agent, do I pay you up front? Do I sign a contract? Is it exclusive? Are there rules? I don't know. Is that what you'd call it? Rules?
There's a few different papers that you have to sign. One is called a consumer notice. The consumer notice tells you what you need to expect from your agent. So if you're hiring me to sell your home, but it doesn't bother you that I may also bring the buyer, that's called a dual agent. But as a dual agent, it is our responsibility to work for both parties nonpartisanly. So I prefer you over the person that is buying the home. You have to work, completely separate. You almost have to split yourself in two.
Right.
Work as a transactional licensee, which means that you don't represent either the buyer or the seller. You just do the paperwork between the buyer and the seller. So there's this agency form that you need to read and understand what you should expect from your agent.
Right.
Next paperwork is called a seller's disclosure form. Seller's disclosure form is anything that you know about your home. If you've done the roof, if the roof is old, if your water heater leaks, if you have your bathroom, it's a very lengthy document. but
Mhm.
it tells the prospective buyer anything that you know about your home, when you purchased it, how many animals have lived in it, how many
Wow.
people in it, if it's currently occupied, if it's not occupied. It's a lot of
Did somebody die there? You have to put that down too.
Uh-uh.
You do?
Whoa.
depending on
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
depending on the type of death. If there has
Wow.
been something
I'm
massive,
bored.
then you have to really disclose
Murder. It's the murder house.
upfront to the agent, because the agent then has to decide if the
Right.
been blighted because of that happening.
You said blighted. I haven't used that word in a sentence in a long. Use that word in a sentence in a long. So Kathy, so going.
And yet
Okay,
there
so
is
we
a contract.
sign. We do the tell me about the contract. That's the most important thing.
That tells you that puts the address, township, school district, how much you're asking for the home,
Mhm.
how long you're giving the agency to sell your home, and what percentage of commission you've agreed on, and how you want it marketed.
What if I decide I don't like you? Like if I decide halfway through the process, like I don't feel like you're doing a great job, which I'm sure is not the case. Like, do I have the right then at some point to be like, you know what, this isn't working out. This isn't.
Yeah.
I'm not
You have-
feeling this. I don't feel like it's moving anywhere. Or maybe you're trying to tell me you got to do X, Y, Z.
Mhm.
Maybe you're saying to me, listen, stage your house, get rid of the clutter, hire Kathy Bori to come in and do a crunchy cleaning makeover, all that stuff. And I'm like, well, I really don't want people in my house without me. I really like my stuff. I have to live here. I really don't want to vacate the home and have, for a couple of hours on a weekend and have strangers traipsing through it.
Well-
How would you address that?
Okay, so first of all, I would tell anyone, there's a few things that certainly have come up over my 20 plus years. Some people don't want a sign in the yard. If a sign is allowed in your yard, that is probably your very best salesman, because people are driving by your house every day and they might say, oh, I love that house. I would love to live in that house.
Yeah.
That's how I bought my
That's how
house.
Holly bought her house.
That's how I
Exactly.
bought my house.
She always loved the house. She always would say, oh, I really love that house. We all have our houses in the area. If you drive by them and you're like, oh my God, that's a storybook house, or I really love that. Or what is it
I
like?
literally was driving home past the house while the gal was putting the sign in the yard.
And that happens. And I'm going to tell you, I'm sorry, but if you have a business for sale, if you have a home for sale, the sign, as long as you're not in a community that says you can't have signs,
Put up a sign.
is the
Right.
best thing that you can do to sell your home. That's the first. Second thing is, if you are serious about selling your home, I mean it when I say interview your agent, have them come in, make an appointment, have them come and tell you what they think you should do to your home in order for them to list it. Come in my home. What do you think? Should I change the curtains? Should I, change the whatever it might be.
And I feel like that would be because people, like you said before, sometimes people look at the home and they don't see the possibilities of what they can do. Like if you've ever watched those home shows, Kathy, and I don't know if you've ever watched them, where they'll walk in and say, well, I don't like this color. Those things can always be changed. Colors and curtains are not permanent.
Yep.
If the roof is hanging down into your
Yeah.
kitchen over the table, then that might be something that you want to address.
Right.
So don't you think, Kathy, that it's
Yeah.
like, well, and that's the other thing too. I don't think I'd want to be home because I wouldn't want other people to be criticizing
Yeah.
my peacock blue bedroom,
Well,
or because those are design choices that can, it's called a can of paint. And that's not like, you can change that stuff,
Yeah.
but I don't think I could handle people like, what do they mean they don't like my lime green 50s kitchen? What do they mean they don't want, so it's probably best psychologically to remove yourself in that way, but also as the buyer, and I know we're talking about sellers, it's like, hello, it's not permanent. So Kathy, when you were selling your home, was it like, were you present when it was being shown? Did you remove yourself? You were like,
No,
later.
Here's the key, and go do what you have to do. Just let me know what time, because I had a cat at the time.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was strict, like cat leaves the room. But no, I didn't want to be, a home is so personal. And I tell that to, in cleaning groups that we're in, that a home is not just where you live, it's where you have your family. There's a sense of trust.
Right.
Oh, she froze a little bit. That's okay. So,
Well,
we'll get back to her. So, yeah, I feel the same way. It's like this is our home, right? But
Yep.
let the curtains behind you, Sarah, those I think they're burgundy or red or whatever they are.
they're
That's
actually,
oh,
yep.
okay. That's just the thing that can be removed and changed by the owner. So,
Right.
but when there's excess, when there's excess clutter, when
There's
there
a lot
it's too
like-
much.
I mean, I just recently, not to tell stories out of school, but we actually, one of the things that we offer is professional photography. So if you're going to have your home professionally photographed, it's a good idea to take all the excess off of your counters, take all of your, you don't want food stuffs out. You kind of
Mhm.
want to, even if it's just for the photographs, you want to remove all of that. You
Right.
don't want dog collars necessarily hanging all over your furniture, or the dog
Throw
door.
blankets and things like that. And also, like where it comes to the curtains behind you, what I would want to show, like in my house, I have beautiful wood framed little tiny big window.
Right.
I want to show that as a feature. So if you have the curtains down, maybe put your curtains back so that you can show the people this gorgeous view.
Right. I mean, it's like, well, you can't see it now, but I usually have my slider door open, or at least partially open, because it goes out onto my back deck. And I live in the woods that are beautiful right now. So
Right.
you want to show the best features of your
What are
home.
the best features of the home, the architectural details,
And
what about a renovation? So let's say in our case, we ripped our bathroom down to the studs. It was a very old, this is an old home, 1937, or I'm sorry, 1947. And it was an old bathroom with a lot of issues, down to the studs and totally rebuilt back out. What value does that add to a home, either a remodeled kitchen or a remodeled bathroom? And I've been hearing in terms of remodeling is to not do an ensuite in your master. People like to not do, I think an ensuite would be like a master bedroom, a bathroom, a dressing room, maybe a closet or whatever, and have it be like, let's say the top floor of a house. Is that true?
On the home. If
Mhm.
if it's a small, 1,000 square foot house, even a 2,000 square foot house, an ensuite takes up a lot of room.
Right.
Would rather have a fourth bedroom than an ensuite.
Right. Right. I've been hearing that a lot.
I mean, they definitely want a full bathroom in the master.
Right.
They, a tub with a shower,
Right.
or at least at the very least a shower, stall, toilet, and sink.
Right.
But you don't have to go all out unless you
But
have.
let's say like Holly's son moves out, Connor moves out, he goes to college, whatever, and she decides she's gonna rip the back out of her house and like make a big, master bedroom, closet, bathroom thing. Then that would take away any extra bedroom.
would
that
have
she-
a
Such a fantasy. That is such a fantasy. Yeah. No, I think too, you got to look at what really increases the actual value of your home. I mean, I
Right.
worked in banking for a very, very long time, and there's a lot of things that people do to their house that doesn't actually, aside from the saleability, it
Mhm.
doesn't really increase the actual value of the home when it comes down to having it valued.
Right.
a lot of people think, oh, I just new flooring, I just did new painting, I did this, I did that. But you know what? That's your personal taste. That does not necessarily
Yeah, that
add.
next person might come in and say, I hate gray floor, or
Right.
I have a black and white checker floor. It's very specific. I
Right.
was like, I am not living in that. I am making that floor black and white checker. That's my style. Somebody might be coming here. I have a lime kitchen, white cabinets,
Yeah.
and black and white checker floor. It's very specific to me,
Mhm.
very specific and specific to the house. Every color in this house was, believe it or not, 1947 like era color palette. And I did those things on purpose. And if I bought something new, which there's very little new things in this house, but if I bought something new, I did it in a way that it was,
Specific house.
As much as you can, as much as you can. But that's a very specific taste. Holly and I were just talking about this. I think it was on Friday night. It was about the difference between, you know, getting that showroom ready home clean,
Mhm.
a new construction house versus an older home where you have pets and kids. And we just don't feel like, even though I clean all the time
Me
and I
too.
have somebody that comes once a month and helps me, it's like you feel like, you know, does that make a difference? Like, what are people? Because I always say to Jeff, my husband, I'm like, this house is like, it has one bathroom. This is a very specific and full
Mhm.
disclosure, this is a family home. This was my grandparents' house. It's a house that's in our family. We paid for, you know, we paid for it, but it's
But
a
it has-
very specific vintage Cape Cottage look, and we don't have a need right now to add another bathroom. If we wanted to sell this house, like if we had to, people would probably be like, oh, well, there's only one bathroom. Like, what are people
I
looking
don't think people
for?
would care right now.
Mhm.
Is
at
that
this
the case, Sarah?
time-
Like right now in this
What are people looking for?
in this market, well, they're looking for 3 or 4 bedrooms, a bath and a half to 2 bathrooms to 3 bathrooms. 300,000 seems to be the cutoff price for most buyers. So they're looking between 250 and 300,000.
Wow.
And it's shocking what now 250 to $300,000 buys.
what that actually buys, because I live on a thoroughfare in Monroe County. I live on what's technically a highway, you know, a 2-lane highway that connects everything to everything. And, you know, if you get on 191, you can go all the way up to, you know, upstate New York. And if you go south, you can go all the way to Philly. Like there's a way to get there from here.
That's right.
And, you know, I live in the majority of the houses on this block and on this street, on this stretch of street are about 100 years old, and they're all cottages, you know, relatively
Cute.
small in size. You know, our house is 100 years old. It's 1,100 square feet. It is my money
Such a
pit.
cute little house.
It's my cottage. It's a cottage, and it's a cottage. The house across the street, although slightly bigger and being 2 stories, was advertised as an English manor house.
Mm-hmm.
It's on a corner lot, shares a driveway, and it sold for $250,000, $275,000,
Mhm.
$275,000. And then just recently down the street, a ranch house, which was purchased by a flipper and remodeled, sold for $275,000. So in our specific neighborhood, that seems to be the average price.
And where I live also, that seems to be the average price range, somewhere between $200,000 and $300,000. Will buy you a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, bi-level in a nice neighborhood in Stroud Township.
Mhm.
I'm going to say that this is going to continue for a while because number one, rentals are non-existent here. And, you know, it's going to be a while before there are a lot of rentals back on the market because we had the moratorium on rentals and also on foreclosures. So what used to come on in the foreclosure market is not coming on right now. Although I guess pretty soon we are expecting a glut of foreclosures in the area. Not this specific area, but there was just an article in Allentown that said that they have 70,000 people expecting to be evicted or foreclosed on once this moratorium is completely lifted.
That is
So-
a lot of people.
That's a lot of people,
Yeah.
and nobody really knows where they're going to go.
But
But-
people from the city are making this exodus at the same time. So once houses empty, they are going to pretty much immediately be filled.
And
Yeah.
a vacant house is going to sell faster than a house that you occupy because people can envision it with their furniture in it, and they can if they are, you know, if their credit is good and all of that, they can, you know, basically move in it in probably 4 weeks time if they have a good lender.
So there's
So-
really 2 things going on. You have an occupied house
Right.
that you'd have to contact someone like Kathy about cleaning, and then you have an empty house that needs the full go around. Kathy, how would you advise people to deal with it?
To deal with, what do you mean? With cleaning the homes?
Like the cleaning part of it.
Or-
Like, I mean, I mean,
Right, we're
they might
staging,
not-
we're decluttering, we're staging, and then the next thing would probably be to do, especially if you have pets and kids and it's been lived in, like
Mhm.
our house is definitely lived in,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
y- what have you been doing some clean, like deep cleaning? Is that something, Sarah, too? Like, and back to, well, Kathy answered that first, but then back to Sarah, is that something you'd recommend? So Kathy, have you been seeing like those deep cleans for getting ready to sell type scenario?
The funny thing is I've gotten so many requests in the last month of people buying homes to either to buy for Airbnb, to rent it out as Airbnbs, or to buy as a second home vacation. So they're not even going to live here permanently.
Right.
They have, I go in there and I take care of the ovens, the refrigerators, the appliances are really the big ones that you really want to get cleaned out to sell, especially if you want to have it on the market. You want to have the appliances cleaned out, even though sometimes the person buying may end up replacing the appliance. You at least want to get those, up and running good. But I've also seen a lot of people that are buying the homes that when the person's selling it, they can't even, they'll have a date for cleaning, and then a week later they'll call me back saying cancel it because I've already sold the home, because it's selling so quickly.
Right.
And there's such a big demand. It seems like
Wow.
there's such a big demand for people even to have as Airbnb and second home vacation homes.
And
So
when
then
you
when I
do an
end up going in there,
Right. And when you do an Airbnb, you kind of want to like clean it in between and all that kind of stuff. That's great for you. That's good though. That's in a way, this is good for
Yeah.
you because you have a lot of opportunity and then repeat. So Sarah, we'll bounce.
it's
She's
so much work that
Okay.
we need more cleaners in the area, because there's such a demand
right.
for a lot of second home to run to in case something were to happen.
Right. Totally makes a lot of sense. So Sarah, so we've decluttered, we've hired you, you've told us what our best chances, what we have to do. We've decluttered, we've signed all the contracts, we've decluttered, we have put our sign outside, we have gotten Kathy to come and clean. She
Right.
crunchy cleaned us. And now we're looking spiffy. We've opened up the curtains to show all those great things. What's next? What is the next thing? Is it getting its like, what if you don't even get to a showing? I mean, can it get
Well, we
sold before you even do that?
So hopefully we photographed it at this
Okay.
point, put it in the multi-list system so all the other agents know that it's available. And we set it up on something called showing time so that your agent can go in and schedule the appointments. And you need to notify your agent, and I'm sorry, I've got a cough.
That's okay.
You need to notify your agent if you have something going on, like you've got a kid's birthday party and this Saturday is not available.
It's
or
not good. Yeah. Do you recommend that the seller, or is this something that you do? Because you're gonna list it, right? Should I put it, if I'm the seller, should I put it on Facebook? Or do you take care of that?
You can, but we as agents should be doing all of that. We should be photographing it, putting it on MLS. We should be putting it on Facebook. We should
Social
be,
media.
yeah, we
Social
should
media.
be.
Okay, so you take care of that because not everybody
Not
spends
every-
their every living freaking moment on social media. I mean, not that I do, but I'm just saying that not everybody's savvy. Like if you have an older, and this is not a knock against older people because there's a lot of older people that have but if that was my mom and she had to put it up, hi mom, if you're watching, if she had to put it on, it's a lot.
Our mother will never sell her house in a million years.
But I'm just using her as an example of a person that might not be like what platforms, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like the intricacies of it,
The agent, Brokers Realty, our agency, we have other sites that are available to us that we can put them on. For instance, if you have a larger home that is, a more of an estate, or a larger home that is, very unique, we can put that on a site that specializes in that. We are a .com business, which means that we probably have more savvy on the internet than a lot of companies.
That's awesome.
Kathy, I have actually a question for Kathy. Is there parts of people's homes that you find that when they're getting ready for something like this, that it's just always really bad? Like, places that people just don't think about. And
closets. The closets. Scary.
Yeah. Definitely, this is out of my realm, but definitely you have to look at getting your duct work done, because I've seen some of the vents where the air comes out and, you know, just Swiffer externally, but
Mhm.
internally it can be overloaded.
story.
So you definitely get like an HVAC, get that cleaned out. Dryer vents, get those dryer vents cleaned out, because that can also pose a fire hazard, and it's also uses up
You're
a lot more electricity than what you. So
And-
you definitely need to get like an H type of internal, you know, gut that all
Swabbing,
out
a
cleaning too.
swabbing,
But appliances,
swabbing,
so what's
if you
that?
will.
Billy
Appliances.
is being silly.
Swabbing, a good swab. No, but like you don't think about those inner
Well,
workings,
You're-
like of
you're
things.
what-
I mean, not that Kathy does that. She does. I mean, that'll be next. Crunchy HVAC cleaning. We have to figure that out. We're gonna add that to your business. But you know, like closet,
Your
those hidden.
litter plan is clean. Your litter
On
it's
definitely, you definitely.
clean the freaking litter pan.
Make
If you
sure there's no duty traps around the house, for God's sake. I just want to take a minute to shout out to all the people that are watching us tonight. Hello, Holly. Hello, Dina. Hello, Mom. She is on here. Mom, we're, no diss, but we're just saying. If you have ever sold a home, if you have a great story to tell, if you have an expert tip, if you want to sell your home, drop it in the comments, and also be entered to win a free something to say mug. Ignore the sippy cup lid and straw, but it's a great mug and it's dishwasher safe, and we would love for you to have one. So please tell us, what is your experience with selling a home, because we want to know. So okay, so we're gonna get all those nooks and crannies. How important is it, Sarah? These are the two scariest, I think. Well, there could be three, but two of the most scariest concepts, I think, when it comes to a house, and we've had both happen: the septic, or your whatever, the poop chute, the system. And the second thing to me is the furnace, and we have literally had to replace both we've only owned this house. I've lived here 10 years. It'll be 10 years October 1st. Oh my God. It seems like a lifetime, but it seems like it's so short at the same time. We've had to replace the furnace, and you're going to love this story. My husband, he's not watching, is a hoarder of sorts, and he happened to have an extra furnace.
Oh my goodness.
So he had an extra furnace in storage.
Only Jeff would
Very
have
handy.
an extra
I mean,
furnace.
blessings to him. He's very handy, so he could service those things.
So
He can do a lot of the work. But if we were going to sell the home and we did not have that expert, if Jeff didn't have that expert ability,
Well,
how important is it? I mean, Kathy talked about cleaning out all those things. How important is it to have a good furnace? Are people looking at that one, and a septic or turkey mound or poop chute or
most people that are purchasing are interested in having an inspection of the home.
Okay, so tell us about, is it true that if I paid cash for the house and it's not a bank transaction, does there need to be like what? Take us through the inspection and as it pertains to a bank loan.
So if someone is buying with cash, they don't necessarily have to have an inspection.
Okay.
If you are buying with a conventional mortgage, they don't necessarily require anything either.
Right.
It's bank.
Okay.
If you are getting money from the bank, they wanted to have a well, septic, and wood infestation inspection at the very least.
That's right. Termites and all that kind of stuff, right? Oh my God, there's so many different things. And of course, we're going to have a whole show about buying a home, because that's like a whole other thing.
I've been there, done that with the termite.
Yes, termite tent.
No, actually, that's a fallacy. They don't do that anymore. Actually, they do something that costs way much more money than that now.
Oh, okay.
They actually put around your house baits in the ground, which is like a big thing. But we eliminated ours, so I'm happy about that. We hired a very good local, competent, nice guy to fix it, and he did. But you have to realize that especially with an old house, you might have had every single possible thing
That's right.
Critters, vermin.
And
Yeah.
happen.
Oh,
So
the
I
other
might be
thing.
lucky because I have public water and sewer, so I don't have to deal with that stuff.
So I think that septic or the poop chute, the furnace, and then the third thing would be cracks in the foundation. Fourth would be like rodent or bug infestation. What is another thing? And leaky and mold, right, Kathy? I'm sure you've come across in your cleaning. Like, we know when we see any sort of water in our own home as we're living in it, we're like, oh no, oh my God, there's a crack, there's a broken seal. And then you're afraid of, like, black mold is the silent killer. So
Black mold. Yeah. You have to have
Right.
a mold rehabilitation.
Remediation.
Yeah. It's very dangerous.
Mitigation. Yeah. And there's people that you can hire to do that. I mean, there's obviously people that you can hire just about to do anything, but if you need a professional. So Sarah, when people are like, we're not even going to get into what they inspect, because that's like a whole other, we'd have to have an expert and all that kind of stuff, which I'm sure you.
The thing that I have to say, there are all kinds of inspectors.
Right.
There are different concerns that people have. Some people buy an older home, they don't care. They know that an older home, an old Victorian or a log house or an 1800s house,
Yeah.
own set of issues. But most people that love those homes are prepared to work with those issues.
To work with those. Yeah.
Have an inspector that is understanding of that as well, because there are a lot of inspectors that will scare you to death.
Right.
Little thing, and that's their job. But you also have to be understanding enough to know that a lot of those little things, it may be $500 to fix them. A wire needs to be changed, or a socket needs to be changed, or this or that. They're not big deals. So you've got to figure out, as the buyer, what's important to you, and as the seller, how much are you willing to fix? Because what can happen is you can either fix it, or you can credit back at closing.
Jessica is also saying the roof, that's a big concern. That could be a big, and we have a question. Yeah. This is to Kathy. Kathy, when you're cleaning a home, if you see signs of termites, do you notify the agent or any problem? So if you're been hired by the person, you've been hired by the agent, let's say, and to go in and clean a home or to do the Airbnbs, do you be like, whoa, I just want to let you know this is going on?
I'll take pictures, video. I'll notify immediately whoever hired me. If it's the homeowner that hired me, if it's the real estate agent that hired me, whoever is my point of contact, I always notify immediately if I see any kind of depth black mold that's in the grout and the sheetrock and the caulking that can't just be wiped superficially, that needs to anything that's beyond my scope. I always notify the person with pictures, with those. We'll do a walk. You can't let things like that just brush over, because those, it's happening to your health. It doesn't look good at home.
No.
And if you find later that was already a pre-existing condition and it wasn't taken care of, I believe
it could cause a lot of problems.
Can't a buyer say, now I'm not going to buy that because you didn't disclose that?
Yeah. How does that work? How does that work? So I'm going to bounce that back to you, Sarah. That's a good question. How does that work?
Stuff like that.
Pre-existing condition that has not been disclosed. Absolutely. Money back and be out of the contract.
What if the seller, what if the seller decides or says, okay, well, we'll fix it. Do you know what I mean? Like, for whatever reason, they like their offer, they like their aura, whatever, they like the fact that they'll be like, what, we want you in this home, we want to work this out, what can we do?
Okay, so I'm going to bounce this back to the for sale by owner that you asked about earlier, and that is the necessity of having an agent or agents. Because if you don't have agents that are working for you, because a lot of paperwork involved when you start saying, I want this fixed, sellers fix this, this is what I'm going to do, this is who I'm going to hire. It takes the agents to work that out and make sure that everything is covered on both sides. That the sellers.
I love that. Right. I love that. I mean, we have people do so many things for us. We hire people to, like, we hire
Right.
Kathy. We get our nails done. We get our hair done because why?
Right.
Because they're experts. I mean, our home, I mean, and people, and I'm not talking down to people, but it is probably the largest investment, even if you've bought several over your lifetime or moved like Kathy has. She's bought a
Okay.
couple, we have investment. We have my husband had a home and then he
About that.
moved in here. And we have another home. It's the biggest. So it's worth staging, cleaning, hiring somebody, having a once over, doing the ducts. Okay. I really don't have the best septic. You know what I mean? Let's get that kind of,
I've actually seen like when they kind of rate the stressful things that happen in your lifetime.
Yes.
Buying a house is actually ahead of things like getting married and having a baby.
And let's think
and
about
moving
that.
is very stressful. It's the
it.
biggest investment most of us will make, don't you think, Kathy? Right?
Yeah, and it's personal too. It's
Ever
very
make.
personal.
It is
Not
very personal. Very
not just-
personal.
It's
But-
what you have in it, who you
Go
share
ahead,
it with.
Sarah.
Let's think about this. So again, if you are selling your house on your own and the people have a mortgage, who's going to contact the bank for you if they're not being forthright about their mortgage process? And right, Holly?
Yeah,
I mean, I dealt with all this stuff.
I did.
Yeah, Holly, from your point of view, being that you were in the
I was
bank
in banking
and
for
saw
10
all
years.
these
Yeah.
all these hello, all the applications come through and
Yeah.
inspections, at the last minute, our mortgage company
Appraisal.
at the last minute they were like, what about your septic? I mean, we literally, it was supposed to close. They changed the closing. We had to get it done. It was a really stressful, and this is a family home, as I told you guys, this is a family home.
Right.
Most people that know me know that this is a generational, home that's been in our family. So there's a lot of sentimentality attached to it. We already lived here, like we were renters, so we weren't going anywhere. We didn't have to worry about selling. Like we didn't have to worry about moving into anywhere or whatever. But it's very stressful because it's money. It's in a large exchange of funds, whether it be bank or cash. Holly, like, how, I mean, it must be stressful on your part because you were that portion of it. So you have your agent, you've had your credit check, you qualify, or this would be for if you were buying. You're gonna sell, like what?
I can't stress enough that if you are going to buy a house and you are going to go get a mortgage, how much I suggest you go to a local bank if possible, where you have a person who is your contact, who can help lead you through this. The giant banks of the world are great. I'm not going to say they're not, but we had a huge thing happen in the United States in 2008. The housing market crashed, and it greatly affected how banks function and how they interact with clients and how they provide credit and how the actual mortgage process works to get you from when you get approval amount to where you actually close a mortgage and pay for the home you're interested in. It's a hell of a process. So I think we definitely need to have a show just on the buying process, because, but then Holly, if that all gets boogered up on your end, that's going to affect the seller. There's such domino effects in part of it all, because you have someone selling the house, they're probably buying another house. Mm-hmm. You have someone possibly selling their house to move into their there's so many pieces.
Right. There's so many parts. Like in our case, we had rented it. We had rented it and then we were buying. So we were okay. You know what I mean? We were okay, but it would be very stressful if you were trying to move out, if you had to move out and you had somebody else coming in.
Yes.
When I
go ahead, Kathy. They leave a lease and can't go back to where they were if the house doesn't close.
What were you going to say, Kathy? Go ahead.
No, I was saying when I sold mine in 2010, I was moving in with my husband, so it was a lot easier to just kind of
Yeah, everybody's circumstances are different. Right. And then Sarah, what do you recommend to the seller to? I mean, we got to give people grace. Like, what's the normal amount of time that you could turn around? Like, what's the turnaround time?
If all goes well, 30 to 45 days, you can be from the signing of the paper, the mortgage commitment, the title, because that's an
title search. Yes, title search.
And that's truly if everybody participates at the same level.
Right.
That's if all the, and then there's not shutdowns
Right.
and stopping of real
Right.
estate transactions.
Right.
So let's say everything goes right. The title, can that be negotiated? Like if the person that is moving in says, listen, we have to sell our house. Can you give us 60 days? And if the seller's okay with that, is that could be negotiated a
Well,
little bit?
paperwork that can be put into the contract that says
Okay.
that it is contingent upon the sale of another property. There is also something called a kickout clause, which means that if the seller gets another offer that they want to take, they can give the buyer so many days to either convert it to a
Right.
regular mortgage and not worry about selling their home,
Mhm.
or they get off the contract and they get their money back.
Wow. It is so complicated. It's a lot. It really
It's
is a lot. I
complicated.
think that it really, I mean, in my opinion, if I think selling, I mean, I'm sure there's advantages to not having an agent, but with all this, and especially the times that we're living in and the banking things and the septic, what about if I'm the seller? I'm hiring you to be my agent. Should I have a lawyer on retainer for this? Should I have somebody like Holly Conway Burchards, who's watching tonight, look at
In the
the
state of,
contracts?
you're not required to have an attorney. Sorry,
Okay.
Holly. But I
But if
always,
you want to, you could
But
still
if
like
you
if
want-
Holly's my attorney,
Yep.
that I've hired, and I say, hey, listen, I'm selling the house. Can you just do a once over? Of course, she'd charge me nothing because she loves me, right? Of course, she says, yes, of course, Aaliyah. For you, it's free. See, I have it on proof. So you can if you want.
so here's the, we all use standard forms, you know,
Mhm.
there are standard forms in the state of Pennsylvania that every agent, if you're a realtor, uses, unless
Mhm.
unless you are buying or selling to somebody that is not using an agent. And then I highly recommend that you retain an attorney to go all the way through to closing with you. But as agents, we are bound to work ethically for you.
Right.
If we are
Because
the
you're
seller,
licensed. You're licensed by the state. You have license. Right.
But I not only have my broker who watches over me, we also have the state commission that watches over us.
Right.
Also, an auctioneer licensed in the state. So, that is something that I take very seriously, that I am working in an ethical manner. And I have worked with other agents that absolutely do not work in the best interest of their clients. And they're not in the business long, because agents like me that are calling them out on their crap are who keeps everything kind of on track. And that's
Well, and two, and I would think that, like, if let's say I want to sell my house, or I've sold in the past and I used an agent that I really liked, I really respected, they did
Yep.
good by me. It was, as smooth as it could be, because let's face it, nothing is perfect. And so I'm going to say, well, Sarah did right by me, or whoever. I'm going to go back again because I'm doing something else, or I'm going to I want to buy a little cabin in the woods, or I want to flip a house, or what, like I want to buy a flip. Then they're going to go back to you. It's just like anything else. Just like Kathy, she does a great job with the
Referral
cleaning,
so
and
important.
she gets referral. You get referral, and you get multiple things. So it pays to. It doesn't serve you to be,
Anyway, one of the
Been shady.
something that we haven't talked about, but it's, for instance, if your parents pass away, or you are stuck with an estate that you just don't know what to do, which end of it to even wrap yourself around,
Mhm.
having that is also an auctioneer is a huge bonus for you, because we can empty the house out. If you've taken all of the things out,
Right. That's true.
but you need this house empty so that you can sell it, hire an auctioneer. Give me or someone like me a call, because we can empty your house out basically in a day once we get
That's
started.
probably a whole other show too. It's like, things are happening, right? Auction sale, contents and home. That's
Yep.
like a whole other,
Yes.
and I obviously grew up with you because we're cousins. So coming to the auctions and working that's a whole other story, working the auctions and all that stuff. That was fun. So we have experience in knowing kind of how that house
Yes.
sale works, how that works, but a person that's never gone through that, It's
Right.
scary. It's scary.
Well,
I mean, even if you don't want to live in the house, you moved away, you're not connected to it, but still it's like feelings and stuff. And
watching
like
your
Kathy says, it's personal. Homes are personal. They have memories. You know what I mean? It's it's hard, I think, you know.
and it's part of our job to make that a little bit easier. And a lot of or you have an elderly parent and they're going in a home and you just don't know what to do with
Right.
all of the stuff, or you're tied up with a family of your own. You don't have the ability to go in and sort things out and get stuff.
Right. Like if the house is across the country or whatever the case. I'm telling you that this is why I love this show, because not because it's like I get to spend time with awesome people like Kathy, but because it is real topics of real things that we go through every day.
Right.
And this is something that it's just part of life. And I think if you can have resources and you kind of have a little bit of knowledge, I think if we
Right.
don't know, we don't know, but when we know, you know what I mean? And sometimes it's great to know, yes, you're licensed, yes, you get paid, this is something you get paid for, but it's the quality of service, it's personal service, it's
Mhm.
being understanding and having empathy. They're not a number, and it's not a commission check. I think that kind of that's the kind of life we live now, right, Kathy? Like, it has to be personal because we've all been through it. Well, I have never
And
sold a home, but we know what it's like to have the family home, or to have sentiment, or to maybe we're not the cleanest person in the world, and we know that. So it's time to get the experts. Let's call the experts. You know what I mean? And I think that that's important to know that there are people that can do the job. I think that that's good. Really good. Thank you, Kathy. Holly, I think we're out of time. I'm
We
so bummed
are.
out.
We
I'm
are.
bummed
We
out because
are.
this was a good show. Kathy,
This was a good
thank
show.
you so much for coming on. It's been way too long. We got to have you on more. If you are looking for some cleaning, I'm telling you, I've seen the pictures, and I thought I was a good cleaner, but I don't know. I've seen those Facebook pictures. Your sinks, your metal sinks, which I happen to have, are like, I could see my reflection. They're like glowing. So Crunchy Cleaning by Kathy. You can look her up on Facebook. She also is in this fantastic essential oils business, Young Living, which she could tell you all about. You can reach her on Facebook. Thank you so much for having us. Whoever, hi Stefania, how are you? Thank you for interacting with us. And somebody on here is going to win a mug.
Yes. We're gonna do a
Here, I'll
random
show
drawing
it again,
from
minus the sippy cup lid or straw, but they're quite lovely. Microwave and dishwasher safe, and they have your favorite people. See, the next mugs we have made, we should have the three of us. We should have like our names, or like the three of us picture.
our picture. Oh, our picture.
A cartoon. We need to have somebody do that. But thank you guys. This has been a great show. We're gonna have a show, I swear to God, on buying a house.
Yes, we are.
Because
That is on the list.
we definitely need to do that,
Yeah,
because
we're gonna do one on buying a house, and we are gonna invite a current mortgage expert on to help us with that versus me, who doesn't work doing that.
That's okay, but you had insight. It's all like experience. That's what it's all about. We have to share with our people, right?
We do. Well, Sarah, Aaliyah, and I want to thank Kathy from Crunchy Cleaning with Kathy, one of our regular guests. We love to have her on whenever it's something to talk about cleaning. So if you have questions or need someone to clean your house, give Kathy a buzz. You can always comment on the show here and she will answer you. We want to thank our sponsor, brokersrealty.com. Without them, we could not be here with you every week. We have a great show coming up again next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. And we hope that you are all here again with us to join us to talk and have something to say. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.